Hey book besties, welcome to Emily Henry's Beach Read. Gather round, it's time for the ultimate summer chaos. If you're craving enemies to lovers banter, rainy kisses, and just the right amount of family drama to make you ugly cry into your beach towel, then you're in the right place, babe. January Andrews believes in love. The kind that wins. The kind that dances through storms, forgives everything, and ends with a perfect happily ever after. She has built her entire career and her entire worldview around it. Romance novels, best-selling ones, the stories where the hero always comes back, the misunderstandings clear up, and love conquers all. January has lived that story too. Or so she thought. Her parents were proof. High school sweethearts who never stopped holding hands, never stopped laughing, never stopped choosing each other. She grew up watching the greatest love story of all time. She wrote it down. She sold millions of copies, believing it was real. Until the day it wasn't. It starts with her father's funeral. Walt Andrews, beloved dad, devoted husband, the man who taught January that love was unbreakable. Except he wasn't devoted. Not really. At the service, Sonia appears. His mistress. The woman he'd been seeing for years during all those work trips. Sonia hands January a letter from her father and the keys to a lake house in North Bear Shores, Michigan, a secret second home he'd shared with her. The happy marriage January idolized? A lie. Her mother knew. Her mother stayed anyway. The illusion shatters. January's long-term boyfriend, Jacques, the one she'd planned a future with, can't handle her grief and distance. He leaves. January stops writing, stops believing, stops answering her mother's calls. She is broke, blocked, homeless in every way that matters. The only place left is the lake house, the place her father betrayed her mother in. She goes anyway. She has a book due. She has to sell the house. She has 3 months of summer to fix everything, or lose it all. North Bear Shores is small, touristy, quiet. Lake Michigan laps at the shore like it has secrets too. January arrives expecting solitude. What she gets is Augustus Everett. Gus! Her college rival. The brooding literary fiction writer who once tore apart her happy ending stories in workshops, calling them shallow, unrealistic. The one who, one drunken fraternity party night, danced with her so intensely she felt seen, and then never spoke of it again. Now he's next door, living in his own inherited house. Also blocked, also broke, also running from something. They bump into each other at the local bookstore. Pete, the owner, introduces them like old friends. January is sure he doesn't remember her. Gus remembers everything. The banter starts sharp. January writes romance, bright, hopeful, endings that feel like promises. Gus writes literary fiction. Dark, cynical, characters who suffer and rarely win. They are opposites in every way. But both are stuck. Neither can finish their next book. One hazy evening, over cheap wine on the porch, they strike a deal. A bet to break their blocks. Gus will write a romance novel with a real happily ever after. January will write literary fiction, the kind that ends badly, the kind Gus usually writes. They will research each other's genres, go on dates to experience what the other writes about. January drags Gus to a romance book club meeting, a bar crawl, a cheesy line dancing night. Gus takes January to a cemetery for inspiration, to interview grieving people, to a cult compound. Yes, a real cult where he once researched for a book. The outings are awkward, hilarious, charged. They argue about love. January insists it's possible. Gus says it's rare, painful, often doomed. But beneath the snark, something shifts. They share stories. January opens up about her father, the betrayal, how it killed her belief in forever. Gus talks about his mother, how she died by suicide when he was young, how his father blamed him, how he's spent years writing about pain because it's all he knows. The chemistry builds. Stolen glances. Late-night porch talks. A kiss after a rain-soaked argument. Gus tells her, "I don't do happy endings, January." She replies, "Then write one with me." They start sleeping together. Casual at first, then not. They help each other write. January's literary manuscript turns raw, real. Gus's romance starts hopeful, then honest. The problem was, January still hadn't opened her father's letter. She couldn't face it. Gus pushes her gently. When she finally reads it, it's an apology. Walt loved her mother. He loved Sonia too. He was weak. He regretted the pain. But he never regretted January. The letter unlocks something. January starts talking to her mother again. They meet. Her mother admits she stayed because love isn't always clean. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's choosing forgiveness over perfection. Gus has his own ghosts. His book is about a cult leader who manipulates vulnerable people, mirroring how he feels manipulated by grief. When they visit the cult site together, it's intense. Gus breaks down. January holds him. For the first time, he lets someone see the cracks. Summer peaks. Deadlines loom. January finishes her literary novel, dark but with glimmers of hope. Gus finishes his romance, not perfect, but earned. They celebrate. They make love like it's the last time. Then reality hits. Gus gets an offer, a teaching job, a chance to leave Michigan. January's publisher loves her new direction, but the house sells. The summer ends. They argue. January accuses Gus of running from happiness. Gus says he's scared. Scared love will end like his parents, like her parents. He leaves for a bit. January spirals. She thinks it's over. But Gus comes back. In the rain, he finds her on the beach. They dance, slow, soaked, laughing through tears. He tells her he loves her, not the idea of her. Not a happy ending on paper. The real, messy her. January says it back. They choose each other. In the aftermath, they stay. January keeps the house. They write side by side. January's mother visits. Gus meets her. They build something new, not a fairy tale, but real. Gus publishes his romance. January publishes her literary book. Both succeed, both heal. The illusions fall away. January doesn't need perfect love anymore. She needs honest love. Gus doesn't need to suffer alone anymore. He needs someone who stays. They are opposites who meet in the middle. Romance and reality, hope and pain, happy endings and hard truths. Love, in the end, isn't a genre. It's not always conquering. Sometimes it's surviving. Sometimes it's choosing to believe again, even when the story hurts. For January Andrews and Augustus Everett, that choice changes everything. They don't get a flawless happily ever after. They get a real one. And that's enough.